Uh, Welcome to the third part of first tutorial of irrigation engineering. Uh, in the first part, we have covered the water resources both globally and regionally. Also, we have discussed the water budget and availability of Pakistan, the Indus River system, and Indus Water Treaty, and water accord among the provinces. Now, in this third part, we will discuss that what is irrigation, what is irrigation engineering, what are the functions and necessity of irrigation, Pakistan climate condition and irrigation system of Pakistan, the Indus Basin irrigation system and the irrigation infrastructure. Also, we will discuss the engineering and agricultural aspects of irrigation, the benefits, objectives, and the problems and demerits associated with the irrigation. So, simply we can say that engineering is the irrigation is the process of artificial supplying of water to the soil for raising of crops. Okay, so actually in agricultural area we are grouping different types of crops, and as we have discussed in the previous parts, that the water is the prime important nutrient, prime important component for the growth and survival of the we can say that of the living things. So water can be provided either by a natural means or artificial means. So also we have discussed that the rainfall, the natural availability of water is not constant, both spatially and temporally. So we need an artificial supply of water. Now that artificial supply of water to an agricultural area for the raising of crops, that will be called the irrigation engineering. Okay. So simply we can say that the artificial application of water to the agricultural land. The artificial application of water to the root zone, now that is the required point, and also we have discussed in the previous parts that the provision of the right amount of water at the right place. Now the right place is the root zone. Okay, so the water which is provided other than the root zone, that will be a type of loss. So irrigation is the application of water to the root zone of the crop at right time. At right time mean when the water will be required. Okay, when the water will be required. Now see, suppose if we have a root zone, okay, suppose that is a root zone in which, for example, if all the pores are filled with water, okay, if the porosity of the root zone is completely filled with water, then some amount of water will be drained out due to the force of gravity, and the water which is retained against the force of gravity, that is called the field capacity. The water which retained against the force of gravity, that is called the field capacity. Now we can say that that amount of water will be available for the extraction by the plant. Okay, the water is extracted by the plant through roots. So the water which retained against the force of gravity, that will be available for the extraction, that will be available for the utilization of the plants. Now for example, a plant is utilizing some amount of water. For example, if the plant is utilizing 10 millimeter of water in 24 hours, so then it will be the consumptive use. Okay, the water which is utilized by a plant in 24 hours, that is called the consumptive use. Now field capacity divided by consumptive use. Suppose field capacity is 20 millimeter and the plant is utilizing, for example, 2 millimeter of water per day. So the 20 millimeter of water will be consumed in 10 days. So that is the right time, that after 10 days then we have to provide the right amount of water. Now how much water will be provided into the root zone? That will be equal to the field capacity. If suppose if we apply more than the if we apply more water than the field capacity, then it will be drained out with the gravitational forces. So it is a type of loss. So we have to provide the right amount of water. That will be, we have to raise the moisture content in the root zone up to the field capacity, and when we have to provide it, when that water is being utilized, when then that water has been completely consumed by the plant, then we have to provide the water at that right time and in required quantity. And how much water we have to provide, that will be equal to such amount of water which can raise the moisture content in the root zone up to the field capacity. And if throughout the season, if throughout the crop growth, the right amount of water is available, the required quantity of water is available throughout the season, then the growth will be optimum. Optimum means to get the maximum yield from the given setup. See, we cannot change the soil condition, we cannot change the climatic condition, but we can provide the right amount of water at the right time, so the crop growth will be optimum, and to get more crops per unit of the water use. So that is the detailed definition of the irrigation, that actually we have to apply artificially, we have to apply the water into the root zone at the right time and in required quantity. So if the right amount of water is supplied in the to the root zone at the right time when it is needed, mean when the field capacity, when the water is depleted up to the field capacity, then the plant's growth will be affected. So then we have to provide the water up to the field capacity, so the growth will be, we can say that the growth will be optimum, the crops production will be optimum. Irrigation may also be defined as the science of artificial application of water to the land in accordance with the crop requirement. Now that is also the most important thing in the irrigation engineering, that how much water is required by the plants, as we have discussed earlier. For example, if the field capacity of the soil is Fc, mean the water which retained against the force of gravity, that is called the field capacity, and the water which is utilized by the crops in 24 hours, that is called the consumptive use. Okay, so the field capacity divided by the consumptive use. Consumptive use is also called the crop requirements, that how much water a plant is utilizing in 24 hours. So that is the field capacity, mean this much water is available and this much amount of water is utilizing in 24 hours. So that will be the frequency of irrigation, that after this much days we have to provide the irrigation. And how much irrigation will be provided, such amount of water will be provided so that the moisture content level in the root zone is raised up to the field capacity. Okay, so it is the science of artificial application of water to the land in accordance with the crop requirement. Again, in accordance with the crop requirement. See, the soil characteristics are constant, and throughout the season we are planting different types of crops, so the crop requirement of the crops will be different. Okay, so every crops will be either, some crops will be utilizing more water, some crops will be utilizing less water. So based on that utilization, based on that consumptive use by the plants, the irrigation frequency will be different, that the irrigation interval will be different, and that water will be provided throughout the crop period. So then the crop growth will be optimum, we can say the crop growth will be optimum, and that is the main basic advantage of the irrigation, that why we are providing irrigation. So in a single word we can say that the irrigation is provided to get the maximum possible yield from a specific area. So the maximum possible yield from a specific area will be obtained if the right amount of water is provided at the right time in the right place, and the right place is the root zone. So that is irrigation. Then what is the irrigation engineering? So irrigation engineering, that is actually, see, the water, we have to supply the water artificially. So there will be a point where the water is available, and suppose here is a field where we have to utilize the water, where we have to apply the water. So first thing is we have to store the water here at this point. When the water is available in large amount than the requirement, then we have to use it for the off season. So the water will be stored at this point, then the water will be conveyed into a specific area, then the water will be diverted, then the water will be distributed here. So some structures will be required for the storage, for the conveyance, for the application, for the distribution, for the measurement, for the monitoring. Okay, so the design and planning of all that structures are called the irrigation engineering. And also the planning and management of the water. For example, if in some part of the year more amount of water is available, more than the requirement water is available, then we have to store some amount of water for the off season when the rainfall is not available, then in that month, so then we will be utilizing that amount of water. So see, the designing and the design of works in connection with the river control, that is the river control. See, we have to control the flow of water. Again, there are different terminologies that why we are controlling. So the first thing is either to control the flood or to store the water for the off season, drainage of waterlogged areas, and generation of hydroelectric power. So then the hydroelectric power, it is a supplementary objective of the irrigation, that mainly we are storing the water for the irrigation purposes. Then when you are releasing the water in the channels, so you can also generate the electric power. So all the structures which are related with the storage, conveyance, application and distribution, so the design and planning of all these structures are called the irrigation engineering. Okay, also we can say that irrigation is the artificial application of controlled amount of water. See, as we have discussed in the second part of the first lecture, that water is a very scarce natural resource, and day by day the availability of the water is decreasing. Okay, so we have to provide the control amount of water. We have to reduce the losses, both the evaporation losses, the infiltration losses, the seepage losses and other unwanted losses. So that will be controlled. So the artificial application of control amount of water supplied to the plants at regular interval, that is the regular interval mean, suppose the soil characteristics, the soil store up to the soil store the water up to the field capacity, and the consumptive use in one day the plant is utilizing this much amount of water. So this one divided by this one, that will be that constant interval through which we can apply the irrigation. So the control amount of water will be supplied at regular interval, that is also called the frequency of the irrigation, to the land according to the crop requirement throughout the crop period for full growth of the crop. So throughout the crop season, that required amount of water is provided in that regular interval, then the crop growth will be optimal, and that is the key objective. It is used to assess the growing of the agricultural crop. Now these are the major objective of the irrigation, that why we are providing the water to the crops. Okay, so first, most importantly, the water is used for the assistance of the growing of agricultural crop. There are the main working functions of the crops in its growth are the transpiration. Okay, so for the transpiration, 100% we can say that the water will be required. So if the proper amount of water is not available, then the growth of the crops will be affected. So irrigation is actually the artificial supply of water which assists in the growing of the agricultural crops. Also that water maintain the landscaping. Okay, some grasses type or the greenery required more irrigation. So now more the irrigation are provided in less intervals. So the landscape, the greenery, the look of the society is developed, and revegetation of disturbed soil in dry area and during period of inadequate rainfall. Okay, suppose in those areas where the rainfall is inadequate, where the rainfall is insufficient for the crop growth. So again, then the irrigation will be required, so that the plants can be revegetized, the crops can be grown due to the inadequacy or due to the unavailability of the rainfall. Irrigation engineering, that is the science of planning and designing a water supply system to the plants. Actually we have to supply the water into the plants, crops for their normal growth, for their optimal growth during the period of no rainfall. Now that is the basic reason. Okay, that when we have to provide the rainfall, when we have to provide the irrigation. So when there is no rainfall, when there is inadequate rainfall, when there is variable rainfall, when there is insufficient natural availability of water, then we have to apply the water. Now how that water will be applied? So first we have to store that water in those months when it is abundantly available. Then we have to divert that water from the dam or from the river directly. So these two are the divergent structure, the weir and the barrage. These two are the divergent structures. We have different types of structure. For example, this is a type of storage structure, dam and reservoir. These are the divergent structures. So either the water will be directly diverted from the dams and from the rivers or canals, and then you have to convey that water. See, canal system, then there are other different sub systems in the canal: head works, cross drainage works, and miscellaneous works. For example, the application, the application of the water into the field, then distribution of water inside the field, the measurement of the water, the monitoring of the water. So the planning and designing of all these structures are called the irrigation engineering. Also we can say that it is a science of planning and designing an efficient, most importantly, an efficient, low cost, economic irrigation system to fit the natural condition. What is the natural condition? The natural availability of water with the help of rainfall. So if that is not available, then artificially we have to develop a efficient, low cost and economic system which can be acting like a natural system. Irrigation engineering also includes the study and design of work in connection with the river control and that the drainage system of the waterlogged area and the generation of the hydroelectric power. Okay. What are the main function of irrigations when we are providing the water? So what are its function, what it do in the area? So actually see, for the optimum growth of the crop, sometimes nutrients are required. So that nutrients can be actually applied with the irrigation water. So if we apply the irrigation water in if we apply the nutrients in solid form directly to the surface of the ground, then some nutrients will be absorbed by the plants, but most of the nutrients cannot be absorbed by the plants because it lies on the surface of earth and the roots are underground. So if we solve that nutrients in the irrigation water and we apply the irrigation water, so the nutrients will be directly applied into the root zone, then the nutrients will be directly in contact with the roots, and the roots will be easily able to easily extract that nutrients. So we can say that the nutrient will be beneficially applied into the plants. So the irrigation water is also act as a solvent for the nutrient. Water forms the solution of the nutrient and this solution is absorbed by the roots. Thus water act as a nutrient carrier. So that is one of the main function of the irrigation water, that it is a nutrient carrier. Second one, the irrigation water supply moisture, which is essential for the life of bacteria beneficial to the plant growth. Okay, some bacteria are sometimes required for the growth of the plants. Some bacteria are beneficial for the growth of the plants. So for the survival of that bacteria, moisture content is required. So if we are supplying the right amount of water at regular interval into the root zone, then that beneficial bacteria will be surviving and it is beneficial for the crop growth. So irrigation water is provided for the survival of the beneficial bacteria. Irrigation water supply moisture, which is essential for the chemical action within the plant leading to its growth. Most importantly, through irrigation water we are providing the oxygen, and then that oxygen is used in the oxidation and metabolism activities of the plants, which is important, which is required for the optimum growth of the plants. So second one is the moisture content for the chemical actions. Some chemicals, some nutrients are solvable or reacting with the water, and then that nutrients and that chemicals are absorbed by the roots, which is beneficial for the growth of the plants. Next, some plants present in the soil react to produce nourishing food produced only in the presence of water. Okay, sometimes if the amount of water is less, for example, fruits and vegetables, if proper amount of water is not provided during its growing period, then that type of vegetable and fruits will be not of the nourishing form. That will be not properly fresh vegetable and fruits. And if throughout the season water is provided, then the fruits quality will be best. Second one, water cools the soils and the atmosphere and thus make more favorable environment for the healthy plant growth. Some roots of the plants or some roots of the crops are temperature sensitive. So if we are not providing the water into the root zone, then the temperature of the root zone will be raised and the crop roots will be affected and automatically the growth will be affected. And suppose if we are providing the water at regular interval and we are maintaining the water the moisture content in the root zone, then the temperature of the root zone will be in favorable condition with the roots. Irrigation water with controlled supply wash out or dilute salts in the soil. This is also one of the main reasons that why we are providing the heavy irrigation into agricultural area. Sometimes salts particles are deposited in the root zone, which is badly affecting the growth of the crops. So we are applying heavy irrigation. So the salts particle which are present in the root zone, that are washed out, that are drained out by the force of gravities and going beyond the limit of the root zone. So the roots will be free of that salt affected soils. But there is also one of the disadvantages of this method, that when we wash out that salt, so it going down into the groundwater bodies and affecting the quality of the groundwater. And also the irrigation is reducing the hazard of the soil piping. Soil piping is, see, if the soil is dry, if there is no moisture content, if you are not providing the water, then small channels are constructed by different rodents or different insecticides or different other small insects underground, which are affecting the fertility of the soil. And if the root zone are properly moisturized throughout the season, so then the soil piping will be reduced. Also, the irrigation is softening the tillage panes for easy roots penetration. See, if the water is not applied, if the root zone is not maintained with some specific moisture content, and it is left to dry, then the root zone will become hard, and the roots will be not able to penetrate in that soil. And if you are providing the water, if the proper amount of water is provided throughout the season, then the root zone will be of soft conditions and the roots will be easily to penetrate in the soil. So if the roots are healthy, so automatically the crop growth will be optimal. Necessity of irrigation. When irrigation is required, that is the most important thing. Yeah, why the irrigation is required, why we are providing the irrigation, what is the necessity? So first thing is, in order to get the maximum yield, it is essential to supply the optimum quantity of water, as we have discussed that if it is required to get the maximum yield from the specific area, then it is essential that you have to supply the optimum quantity of water and you have to maintain the correct timing of water. This it is possible only through a systematic irrigation system. Okay, and by collecting water during the period of the excess rainfall and releasing it to the crop as in when it is required. As we have discussed that sometimes the more water will be available than the requirement, so we have to store that water in a systematic way, and then we have to release that water to the crops, to the agricultural area when it is needed. So thus the necessity of the irrigation can be summarized in the following points. The first one is the rainfall. See, when the rainfall is less than the requirement, so automatically artificial application of water will be required. Okay, so if in some area the availability or the natural availability of water is less than the requirement, then the irrigation will be required, artificial application of water will be required. Second one is the non-uniform rainfall. As we have discussed that rainfall in a particular area is not uniform. throughout the season. Rainfall is variable both with respect to the time and both with respect to the space. So during the early period of the crops, rain may be there, but no water may be available at the end of the crops. Yeah, sometime at the start no water will be available, at the end more water will be available, and the crop utilizing more water at the early stages. So it will result that the yield of the crops will be affected, or the crop may be died. So by the collection of water during the excess rainfall period, water may be supplied to the crop during the period when there may be no rainfall. Okay, if there is excess rainfall, so you have to collect that water, you have to store that water properly, and then that water will be provided in those days where there is no rainfall. So again, if the rainfall is variable, if there is variability in the rainfall both in terms of space and in terms of time, then the artificial application of water will be required. Third one is the commercial crops with the additional water. See, the rainfall in a particular area may be sufficient to raise the usual crops. Okay, in some area the rainfall may be sufficient to raise that usual crops, but for commercial crops, for cash crops, more water will be required. So with the help of the rainfall you can grow the usual crops, but you cannot grow the cash and the commercial crops which require more water. So again, if the rainfall is sufficient for the usual crops but not sufficient for the commercial and cash crops, then some additional amount of water will be required, some additional artificial supply of water will be required through irrigation. Third one is the growing of the we can say that perennial crops. Perennial crops are those crops which require the water throughout the season. Those crops which can be grown throughout the season. So the crops can be grown throughout the season, and as we know that the rainfall will be not available throughout the season, so again irrigation will be required. Those crops which require the water throughout the season, then irrigation will be required. Okay. Also controlled water supply. So if you have proper irrigation system, by the construction of proper distribution system, the yield of the crop may be increased, because the water will be supplied in a controlled manner. So if in a controlled manner proper amount of water is supplied to the crops, then the yield will be increased. Washing of salts from the root zone, that is also most important, that if you have to develop the area from the salinity problems, so then you have to provide the heavy irrigation. So the salts which are available in the root zone, it will be washed out, it will be drained out, and the area will be developed. Softens the tillage pen. Okay, the root zone will be soft by the provision of the water at a regular interval. So if the root zone is of soft condition, then the roots will be properly penetrated. The growth of the crop will be the growth of the crop will be optimum. Protect crops from the freezing. Suppose if continuously at regular interval you are applying the water into the root zone, so in those areas where the temperatures are less than the freezing point, then the root zone become freezed, and again the roots will be not easily penetratable in that areas. So if you are properly providing continuously some amount of water, then the root zone will be protected from the freezing. Reduce temperature of soil and crops, as we have discussed that some crops are temperature sensitive. So if you are applying the water at regular interval and at right time, and at the root zone are at proper moisture content, then the environment will be cool and the temperature will be reduced. As we have discussed the general consideration, the general introduction about the irrigation and irrigation engineering, and we have discussed the necessity and the function of irrigation. Now what is the Pakistan climatic condition, and what is the condition of the irrigation system of Pakistan? So if we look into the climates of the Pakistan, so it is a tropical country with a vast diversity of climate, topography and vegetation. See, if we look from the northern areas into the southern part of the country, so there is a huge difference between the climate. There is a huge difference of climate and topography and the vegetation, because at different areas different types of crops can be grown. Also the topography at northern areas, there are steep slopes, and in the southern areas the lands are plain areas. Climates are also variable. At the northern areas the temperatures are less as compared to the southern parts. Also the the natural availability of the water, mean the rainfall is also different as compared to the northern areas in the southern parts of the country. So rainfall in Pakistan varies considerably in its place of occurrence as well as in its amount. See, there are three categories of the climate based on the rainfall. Either the area will be humid area or semi-arid area or arid area. So the climate of Pakistan based on the rainfall is variable. Okay, upper part of the country are humid areas where heavy rainfalls are occurring in different seasons, and lower parts of the countries are arid regions, and the Punjab areas mostly at that part these are semi-arid. So the rainfall is also variable both on places and both on occurrences. Even at a particular place, the rainfall is highly irregular as it occurs only during a few months of the year. If you look into the water availability, if you look into the rainfall occurrence of the country, so out of 100%, 70% of the rainfall is occurring only in 3 months in summer seasons, and the rest of the 30% of the rainfall is occurring in the rest of the 9th month. So that is also the highly irregularity in the occurrence of the rainfall. Crops cannot therefore be raised successfully, and as from the discussion we have discussed that the rainfall is highly variable both temporally and spatially, so the crops cannot be grown successfully over the entire land without providing the artificial irrigation of water. So if we are not providing the water artificially, then the crop growth will be badly affected. Okay, and the crop growth is affected, then automatically the economy of the country will be affected. Climate in terms of precipitation is the basic factor for determining the need of irrigation. See, for arid zone having less than 15 inches of mean annual rainfall, mostly the southern parts, the Balochistan and the lower parts of the Sindh province, there are rainfall is less than the 15 centimeter. Okay, so if rainfall is less than 15 centimeter, then it is considered as the arid zone. So that is a very less amount of water available, that is the annual amount of water. So again the irrigation is required, the irrigation must be required. It is the necessity of the to provide the artificial application of water. For semi-arid zone, some part of the Punjab districts and lower parts of the KPK, there are rainfall are 15 to 30 inches, so the irrigation is desirable. Here the irrigation is necessary, irrigation must be required, otherwise the crops will be badly affected, and here the irrigation is desirable. And the third one, for humid zones, mean the northern parts of the KPK, irrigations are more rainfall are more than 30 inches, mean annual rainfall is more than 30 inches, so the irrigation is beneficial. But if you not provide the irrigation, the crop growth will not be affected. But if you provide the irrigation, the yield will be maximized, and here it is desirable, here it is necessary. So there are three categories of the irrigation based on the availability of the rainfall. See, as we know that Pakistan is an agricultural country, and 23% of the gross domestic product of the country is depend on the agriculture. And also we have discussed in the previous part of this tutorial that by 2050 60% of more food will be required from the current requirement. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to develop the agricultural sector, we have to improve that sector, agricultural sector. Employment, more than 50% of our labor force in rural areas. Okay, so 50% of the peoples are employed in the agriculture sector, and also our large crops, wheat, cotton, are contributing majorly into our these two industries, textile and the sugarcane. Our main exporters are based on the agriculture. So if we have to improve our economy, if we have to overcome the challenges of the 2050 of the food requirement, if we have to create the employment, if we have to improve our industries, textile and sugar industry, then we have to focus on the agriculture. And how we can focus on the agriculture? If we have a strong and better irrigation system. Most important crops are wheat, sugarcane, cotton and rice. See, that are contributing 75% of the total crop output value, these three crops, and it requires water. So if we develop the area, if we develop the irrigation system, then the yield will be increased. If yield is increased, then the economy of the country will be developed. Pakistan is a net exporter, exporting rice, cotton, fish, fruits and vegetables. As Pakistan has an arid climate, mostly Pakistan, in most part of the country, the rainfall is less than 15 inches. So the Pakistan is categorized in the arid class, is heavily dependent on the canal irrigation. So we have to develop the irrigation system. Groundwater is another important source of the irrigation water. Also, the water can be provided from the surface or from the ground reservoir, but we have to conserve the groundwater. We have to manage and utilize the surface water. Otherwise, then it will be a problem. If the groundwater is permanently depleted, then it will be a problem. Okay. Water for irrigation. So most of the irrigated agriculture takes place in the Indus Valley. And see, Pakistan has a very limited resources. As we have discussed in the previous slide, that Pakistan lies in an arid and semi-arid climatic zone. Okay, basically there are two major sources of water in Pakistan. One is the natural source, second one is the artificial source. So natural source just include the rainfall, river, glaciers, ponds, lakes, streams, the natural water resources. Whereas artificial source consists of the surface water, which is originating, which are coming from the other parts. And the rainfall condition is majorly, there are two sources of the rainfall in Pakistan. One is the monsoon rainfall, and second one is the rainfall due to the western disturbances. So there is about 70% of the annual rainfall from July to September. Only in that 3 months, July, August and September, the entire Indus Plain receive an average seasonal rainfall of 200 millimeter in one season and 53 millimeter in another season. So the rainfall varies as we move from the north to the south part. Also the glaciers, the rivers and dams, surface water and surface water resources, these are insufficient for the future. So we have to improve the irrigation system. And main agricultural area, irrigated agricultural area, lies in the Indus Plain, which is formed due to the depositions of the eroded particle by the Indus River, and which is one of the most fertile land in the world. The area is served by the largest integrated canal irrigation system. Okay, that is one of the largest irrigation system in the world. It is dependent on the river Indus and its tributaries. 93% of or harnessed water from this river system is used for the irrigation. We have discussed in the previous tutorials the Indus basin system in details. So the 93% of the Indus river water is used for the irrigation system. The remaining 7% water is used for the drinking purposes, industry purposes and other requirements. Now see, what is the need? What is the country need? How much water is available? How much is the requirement? So what we have to do? Pakistan receive an average of 144 million acre feet, as we have discussed in the second part of this tutorial. That approximately the average annual flow of the Indus River is 144 million acre feet annually. Out of this, 104 is diverted into the canal. So, and we have discussed the rest of the 40 million acre feet is discharged into the Arabian Sea. So we have to develop the infrastructure so that to control that 40 or 30 million acre feet of water, so we can develop the area. Another 50 million acre feet of water is used for irrigation, and domestic water supply is drawn from the groundwater. 104 is taken from the Indus River, and 50 million acre feet is left it from the groundwater reservoirs. See, this is the land use in Pakistan. The total land in the Pakistan is 196 million acre. 196 million acre. Up to in this 196 million acre feet, 77.1 million acre feet that is suitable for the agriculture, in which we can grow the crops. Okay. Now, the total area 77 million acre feet is suitable for agriculture, but we are only growing 54.5 million acre cultivated area, both on rainfall and irrigation. Area under irrigation, out of 44 million acre feet is by irrigation, and the rest of 10 is by the rainfall. Now the additional, see, the possible agricultural area is 77 million acre feet, but we are only growing the crops in 54 million acre feet. So the rest of 22, that is not developed area, and that can be developed. So the water which we are utilizing into the Arabian Sea, that can be the water which we are discharging in the Arabian Sea, that can be utilized for the irrigation of this area. See here, the green area, the green portion, this one, this green portions, these green lines, this is the area under irrigation. This is the irrigated area. Okay, and the area, these are the deserts, so that these areas can be developed, and this area, these are the area under rainfall, and the blue dotted area, this area can be brought into irrigation. This area can be developed. So if we have 196 million acre area, in which 77 is suitable for the agriculture, but currently we are only growing the crops, cultivating the area, we are only cultivating 54 million acre feet, and the rest of 22 million acre feet, this can be developed. So that is the need of that day. As we have discussed, that the future requirement for the food is increasing, the future demand of the water is increasing, so we have to develop this 22 million acre feet area. This is our irrigation infrastructure. So majorly in Pakistan there are 3 reservoirs, Karbela, Mangla and Warsag. Number of barrages are 16, 2 headwards, 12 length canal, and 44 are the other main canal. These 12 canals are the canal between the rivers, the tributaries of the Indus River, the eastern in between the eastern tributaries of the Indus River. Total length of the canal is this 1 kilometer. Length of the water courses, average canal diversion is this one. Groundwater obstruction is 50 million acre feet. Okay, so this is a schematic sketch of the Indus Basin irrigation system. This one is the main Indus River, in which the Karbela Dam is constructed. Okay, this one is the Janab Barrage, from that side Kabul River, and this one is the Mangla Dam, another one. These are the eastern tributaries which we have discussed in the previous part of the tutorial, and these are that interlinked canal between these rivers. If suppose in one river the flow is less than the requirement, then some amount of water is diverted into that river. So these are interlinked canal, and the rest of these are the irrigation canals. Scope of irrigation. Okay, the world population is increasing with the passage of time, as we have discussed that annually 80 million of population is increasing globally. So if the population is increasing, then the demand of the food will be also increasing, because more human beings will be requiring more food. Therefore irrigation is likely to become the science of survival. Okay, that is the important. If we have to survive, then we have to grow more food, and if we have to grow more food, then more water will be required. And if we are providing that water for the growing of more food, then it is called the irrigation. So that is the scope. In the next 35 to 45 years, world food production will need to double. Almost in 2050, 60% of more food will be required from the current requirement. So 90% of this increased food will have to come from the existing land. See, land is not increasing. Actually, land is decreasing. Agricultural land is decreasing. We are constructing the buildings. So the the food demand is increasing, the land is constant, so how we will obtain that extra amount of food? So that will be that extra production will be obtained from the existing land by developing the proper irrigation system, and 70% of the increased food will have to come from the irrigated land. We have to develop the land, we have to develop the irrigation infrastructure, we have to develop their systems. Vast areas of the earth are situated in arid zones, less rainfall region. Mostly the areas where agriculture is possible, where the area can be where area can grow crops that are lying in the arid zone, and even those in humid areas may not have evenly uniformity in distribution of rainfall in terms of time. I mean, there is temporal variation. So again, it is not necessary that at the early stage more water is available, but at the last stage, if no water is available, again the crops will be died and the growth will be affected. We have to provide the right amount of water at regular interval. So if the rainfall is variable, if no rainfall is available, then we have to develop the irrigation. The scope of irrigation is not only limited to the application of water to the soil, but it deals with all aspects and problem extending from the watershed to the agricultural forms like control of water logging and reclamation. Okay, irrigation is not only the provision of water, it also the development of the area from the salinity and water logging. Water logging means if the water table is near to the earth surface, then the root zone will be, then there will be no aeration, there will be no oxygen available to the root zone. Again, the crop growth will be affected. So we have to lower the water table, and if the soil is saline, if there is salt, if salt particles are there in the soil, again the crop growth will be affected. So we have to develop the area, we have to reclaim the area from water logging and from the salinity. So if the area is developed, more food will come. It also deals with the design and construction of all works required for storage, diversion, conveyance, application, and removal of excess water from the land. And the design and planning of these structures, storage structure, diversion structure, conveyance structure, application and removal of excess water structure, these are called the irrigation engineering. The scope of irrigation can be divided into two parts. Actually, we have two aspects of the irrigation. One is the engineering aspect and second one is the agricultural aspect. So engineering aspect is the designing and planning of the structure, simply we can say. So there will be storage structures, okay, diversion structure or lifting structure. Suppose if you are utilizing the surface water, then the surface water can be stored and diverted, and if you are utilizing the groundwater, then it will be lifted. So storage, diversion and lifted structures will be required. Conveyance of irrigation with the help of canal, streams, water courses, distributaries to the field and in the field, that will be required. Distribution and application of water properly so that the efficiency may be improved. Okay, drainage of excess water. Okay, as we have discussed that if the level is near to the earth surface, then we have to lower the water table, so that is the draining of the excess water. So for that purpose is different irrigations, different engineering structure is required, which is the engineering aspect of the irrigation. And also the supplementary objective, the supplementary benefits from the irrigation is the development of the water power. Okay, so storage structures, conveyance structures, distribution structures and the drainage structures. What is the agricultural aspect? The agricultural aspect deals with thorough study of the following points. Proper depth of water necessary in single application of water. Okay, what is the crop requirement? What is the storage capacity of the soil? So how much water we have to apply? That is the agricultural aspect. That is related to the crops requirement. That is related to the crop consumptive use. Consumptive use. Distribution of water uniformly and periodically, so that the water may be properly distributed in the land. The water may be properly distributed. Capacities of different soils for irrigation water. We have to assess the soil. We have to find out the types of the soil. We have to find out the porosity, the field capacity, the storage capacity of the soil, so that when the irrigation will be required and how much irrigation will be required, and also reclamation of waste and alkaline soil. So these are the agricultural aspects. If we are going on this side, so that is the agricultural aspect of the irrigation. Now, as we have discussed, that if the right amount of water is provided to agricultural area in the right time, then what we will obtain? So the food production will be increased, the crop growth will be optimum, and due to the controlled and timely supply of water to the crop, the yield is increased. Protection from famine. The construction of irrigation works helps during the famine and drought period. Okay. Cultivation of the cash crops. So irrigation makes it possible to grow cash crops such as sugarcane, tobacco and cotton, because if the natural water is not sufficient for the cash crops, then we have to provide the irrigation, and if irrigation is properly provided, then the cash crops and commercial crops can be cultivated. Addition to the wealth of the country. Elimination of mixed cropping. Elimination of mixed cropping. Sometimes the farmers are, if there is no irrigation system, then the farmers are cropping 2 or more crops in an area. If the natural water is not sufficient for one crop, then it will be sufficient for another crop. So without complete loss, the farmers are planting more than 2 or 3 crops in an area. But if there is irrigation system, then we can supply properly the water for any types of crops. So one crops can be properly grown in an area. Addition to the wealth of the country. Okay, so if the cash crops if you are cultivating the cash crops, if the food production are increased, so automatically the wealth, the economy of the country will be developed. Increase in prosperity of the people. Okay, due to irrigation facility, the value of land is increased. Generation of hydroelectric power. Okay, major river valley project are usually planned to provide the hydroelectric power together with the irrigation. Actually, we have to store the water for off season, so also we can generate the hydroelectric power. Domestic and industrial water supply. Okay, if you store the water for irrigation purposes, so that water can also be utilized in domestic and industrial purposes. Inland navigation. Okay, there will be contact in between the people. Improvement of communications. Okay, there will be road will be constructed, pathways will be constructed. We can also plant the trees along the canal and river side, so the environmental and climatic conditions will be improved in the groundwater storage. Okay, due to the irrigation system, some water is going beyond the root zone, which is helping in the improvement, which is helping in the recharge of the groundwater reservoir. Aid in civilization and general development of the country. So these are the main benefits of the irrigation. Plant needs air, water, food and light. As we have discussed that what are the objective, what is the scope, what is the necessity of the irrigation. So water is required for the survival, so we have to provide the right amount of water into the root zone. Each of the above mentioned element has an important role in plant life. Insufficiency and inadequacy of any one of the above elements has an adverse effect on the plant growth. See, for the plant development, air is required, water is required and food is required now, and light is required. Now any one of these 4, if that is inadequate or insufficient, then the crop growth will be affected. So water is one of the prime parameter, one of the prime constituents required for the crop growth. So that will be provided through irrigation. Water being a vital element in the plant life needs a special concern with regards to its necessity, the mechanism by which plant gets its moisture and moisture extension pattern. So objective of irrigation is that one, to supply water partially or totally to the crop, to cool both soil and plants, to leach the excess salts, to improve groundwater storage, to facilitate continuous cropping, to enhance fertilizer application. And these are the demerits. Also अगर advantages है तो disadvantages भी होंगे. Excess irrigation and unscientific. Now that are the point. Excess irrigation and unscientific. If there is uncontrolled provision of water, if there is no control on the water, if there is excess water applied into the area, then what will happen? if you are applying more water, so it will be going beyond the root zone and the water table will be raised. And if the water table is raised to the ground surface, again the crop growth will be affected, because then there will be no possibility of aeration for the root zone. Formation of the marshy lands. If the water table is raised, if you are applying more water into the earth surface, marshy lands will be developed. Dampness in the weather, loss of variable lands. See, loss of dampness in the weather means the climate, the weather of the surrounding or the environment will be increased. There will be more humidity. Loss of the variable lands in terms of erosion. Suppose if you are applying the water with the surface, by surface means, then erosion will be occurred, the land will be lost. If suppose the water level is raised, then again the crops cannot be grown in that area. Depletion of the underground aquifer. This is in terms of, suppose if you are utilizing, if you are using, if you are applying, if you are extracting, if you are lifting the groundwater for the irrigation purposes, then the underground reservoir will be depleted. Okay, breeding places for mosquitoes, waterlogging and damp climate. These are the disadvantages of excessive and unscientific application of irrigation water. And these are the problems: competition for surface water rights, depletion of underground aquifers, build up toxic salt. See, if you are applying the irrigation water and there is some impurities, there is some salt particle, then the water is extracted by the plants, but the salt and chemicals are deposited in the root zone, and which is affecting the fertility of the soil. For irrigation become a poor distribution, uniformity or management of wastewater chemical, and it may lead to water pollution, mean if the irrigation is not properly managed. So this was all about the irrigation. That was just the introduction of the irrigation engineering, the function and necessity of irrigation, and the Pakistan climatic condition and the irrigation system, and also the engineering and agriculture aspect of irrigation, the benefits and objectives and demerits of irrigation. Okay, so this was the end of the first lecture. Thank you.